Hello everyone, welcome back to looking at the devotion constellations. Today we're going to go into the law section. Law is beings of order cherish harmony and balance in all things. Law, or is it order? It's order. Why do I say law? Jeez. Did they change it to order from law? They might have changed it. Anyways, order, Order is very much a warrior section, but when it combines with primordial, you get some warrior magey things. But let's just start down here with the lion is percent health and offense and defensive ability and gives your pets health. Then you get spirit and health, and then you have all damage and gives bonus all damage to your pets. So the lion is actually a nice little constellation. For 3 points, you get an acceptable amount of health and a little bit of extra damage. So the crane is a little like Sailor's Guide in that it's really great for meeting prerequisites for law. You throw in your 5 points and you get some nice bonuses, but you also get 5 affinity in the order section. So it gives you physique and spirit, poison acid res, all damage, and lowers the spirit requirement for weapons. Vitality resistance, and some elemental resistance. So you get a nice set of resistances, and if you're having trouble meeting spirit requirements on weapons, that will help as well. Torgo the Builder, or as I like to say, Torgo the Builder, used to be like a top tier constellation for getting a crap ton of health, and it's still really good for that. So you start at the defensive ability node, and you get percent health, and then flat health and defensive ability. And then you can also go for some increased armor, and then more increased armor and more shield damage blocked, and then the shield wall ability, which when it pops, you get bonus armor and shield damage blocked, and you start reflecting damage. It's a really nice defensive constellation. It's in the order primordial combination. So if you don't even need to be a shield user to pick up these four nodes for a lot of extra health. So because they're right here, some of the law ascendant things mixed together in sort of a blade mastery way. So Assassin's Blade is offensive ability, pierce damage and bleed damage, and then the Assassin's Mark ability, which reduces the physical and pierce resistances on a target. You can assign this to a lot of things, and if you're doing a physical pierce build, it's great because 100% chance on crit. You're probably going to be critting a lot in this game anyways. You can assign it to your basic attacks. You could assign it to Blade Spirit, Blade Arc, just anything that can hit enemies to give them this little debuff, and you'll deal more damage if you're doing physical pierce, of course. The Assassin has pierce damage, cunning, offensive and defensive ability, percent cunning and bleed resistance, bonus damage to humans, defensive ability, poison acid res, pierce, percent pierce, and then the ability Blades of Wrath, 100% chance on critical attack, hit, 12 projectiles, 100% chance to pierce your enemies, weapon damage with piercing damage, and I believe these are like, it explodes in a circle around you. So it adds like an AoE to your person. So it's something really for fighting in melee that when you have it pop, it'll just burst and hit everything around you. So the Dryad. The Dryad gives you energy, poison acid res, health and energy regen, reduced poison bleeding duration, percent spirit and reduced spirit requirement for jewelry, and the ability Dryad's Blessing, 33% chance on attack, you'll heal yourself. The Dryad is another really handy defensive constellation, and for like if you just have a point and you need poison acid res, you could tick a point in here to get 10% of it. And also like putting say 3 points in it can actually be good for reducing your poison and bleed damage you're taking. And if you need energy regen, 2 points can get you to that as well. The ability isn't bad. It's a bit like the Combat Medic's Mark, where you're attacking and you'll get occasional heals. And it's not an insignificant amount of healing you can give yourself. So, the Panther. The Panther has offensive ability and then offensive ability for your pets. cunning and spirit for you, and damage for your pets. Damage for you, energy regen for you, and an offensive ability for your pets. And an offensive ability for you, and crit damage for your pets. This is something, whether or not you're using pets, if you want some bonus offensive ability, and damage, and energy regen, it's actually not a bad thing to pick up. It can also help you meet prerequisites for the order primordial things. And it's a small point investment too. So 4 points gets you 2 into order, 3 into primordial, which is not bad. So the big 8 point order grab is Scales of Okama, which is one of my favorite constellations on the board. I used to go for it all the time. I don't do it as much, but it's still really good because you get flat health and energy, health regen, a good chunk of all damage, a percent health node, and then a flat energy regen node with a percent energy regen node. The ability, Tip the Scales, is 20% chance when hit. You'll do this like circular burst of vitality damage that will heal you. So it's actually kind of a not bad heal as well if once you get it leveled up. If your character using vitality damage, it's actually worth possibly going for. Maybe you could do it with like a Witchblade that's vitality damage focused. You can get a lot of the defensive stuff from order, pick this up, and suddenly you've got a burst that when enemies are hitting you, you can return the favor. So, also in the Law Primordial section is the Shield Maiden. So if you're using a shield character, this is probably a go-to and something you're really, really going to shoot for. So 4% shield block chance, increase your armor absorption, reduce stun duration, increase shield damage blocked, reduce your shield recovery time, give a chance of stun retaliation, increase the shield damage blocked, and like that percent retaliation node is probably the node you could skip unless you want to go for the constellation bonus. But these 5 nodes in particular are really great for boosting a shield's abilities to protect yourself, to protect you. Really, really solid, kind of specific constellation. I also used to go for the Obelisk of Manor because it had a really crazy node right here. This used to be defensive ability in like 300 armor, and this armor node applies to every single piece of armor except your belt. So it's actually a lot of armor to give a character. So if you can meet the prerequisites for the Obelisk of Manor, you could just put like a point here for the defensive ability and percent defensive ability, point here for the armor, and then point here for the armor, and get a nice chunk of defense for a tiny point investment, should you be able to meet those requirements, of course. So you also have this 100% of all retaliation damage node, shield block chance and shield damage blocked, increase armor, reduce stun and freeze duration, increase your maximum pierce res, and then the ability Stone Form. So chance on block, you increase your armor by a lot, increase your armor absorption, increase your pierce res, reduce your poison bleed durations, and give yourself more retaliation damage. This would be if you're going for the completeness on this, I would go for a retaliation build to shoot for that thing. Maybe even a shield-based build could go for Obelisk of Manor and Stone Form and get a huge benefit out of it. So, Yulo, Keeper of the Waters. Yulo, Keeper of the Waters is great for your resistances because there's a Poison Acid resist node, Chaos resist node, Leech Life and Energy Leech resistance node, and then an Elemental resistance node. So 4 points on this. It's great for you and your pets to build up your resistances if you need to build up your resistances through devotion. The ability is spectacularly useless. I would probably not even bother going for it, even if I were trying to get those prerequisites. It would be great if you had more control over it, because it kind of acts like nullification, but you can't target with it. So it's like you could just hit enemies that it wouldn't bother it wouldn't do anything to. I mean, you would add a slow, but it wouldn't do anything to. And I mean, it does help your allies as well. But you don't, I don't fight a lot online. Maybe that'd be more worth it, because if your allies are caught in it, they could have some, dots removed from them or something. But yeah, I'd probably skip this node. If you need the resistances, though, Yulo, Keeper of the Waters is great to go for. So the third tier abilities for Primordial and Order are Light of the Empyrion and the Tree of Life. Light of the Empyrion, they keep nerfing it for some reason, when really they should be buffing it. So you get 10% elemental resistance, and then it increases your pet's current elemental resistances by 10%. You get 80% fire damage and more damage to chthonics. You get more elemental res, as do your pets. You get more vitality res, as do your pets. You get more aether and chaos res, as do your pets. And then you deal flat fire damage, and it increases your aether chaos resistance, and it increases all of your resistances on your pets. That node used to be awesome because it would increase all of your resistances. Now it's just aether chaos. Meh. And then you get the ability Light of the Empyrion, 20% chance on when hit by melee attacks. You sort of get this ray of light that comes down and hits you, and it hits a tiny area around you. It's like Ring of Steel's area, and it deals damage to just everything around you. If you're playing a character that was retaliation based, I'd maybe say go for it, because you'll just have another thing that retaliates around you. But otherwise, it's sort of a ho-hum ability. I wish it hit a bigger area. I wish it were like a flashbang centered on you. That would be awesome. But right now it is like, and they keep like taking things away from this third tier constellation when it should really be way more amazing than it is. I think it's because they did sort of this nerfing of all of the resistances and defenses in Devotion like a month ago. And this is probably just caught up in it, but I actually think they should make this a super resistance tree anyways. So over to the Tree of Life, you get health and your pets get health, and then you get health regen and your pets get health regen, and then you get defensive ability and more health regen, and your health gets your healths get pet regen, your pets get health regen, and then you get health, your pets get health, and then you get health and health regen, your pets get health regen, and then you get this ability called Healing Rain, 25% chance when hit. You heal yourself and your allies in a big radius. And it says curing ailments, it might remove negative effects. I don't know about that, but you do get a giant chunk of health and energy regen and a heal. Tree of Life is great for building up a lot of health regen. And it's in that set of just defensive things. Healing Rain works whether or not you have a shield, I will note, so it actually can be helpful for someone who's not using a shield, like if you're dual wielding or using a caster offhand. Okay, we gotta edit this in because I almost forgot these two, the Tortoise and the Bull. So the Tortoise is health and defensive ability. Defensive ability reduced physique requirements for shields, health and defensive ability, and health, defensive ability, armor. You also get the turtle shell ability, which is just flat damage absorption. I will admit I'm not a fan of the ability because flat damage absorption, I believe none of your defenses are taken into account for it. Damage absorption in the order of operations for your defense is top of the list, which means this isn't like additional health. It's like having additional health that is immediately stripped away. I believe it gets up to like 4,000 or something like that when it's maxed out, and that's almost insignificant. It does have 100% chance at 40 health, which is okay, I guess. But I do like these 4 nodes. It's a good like you have 4 spare points and you want more defense. Picking up those 4 nodes is actually not a bad thing. So for the Bull, there's physique, internal trauma damage, percent chance to stun, and increased stun duration, and then more internal trauma damage, reduce the physique requirement for armor, and then Bulrush, 25% chance on attack, you'll deal your main hand weapon damage, and then physical internal trauma damage. This is for a character that is doing heavy soldier stuff, or a warrior mage character that maybe is working a little bit of internal trauma damage in and converting that physical damage to elemental damage. I would definitely consider it a warrior mage thing. It also helps you meet your prerequisites for Order and Primordial. And I think that is going to cover all of the Order stuff and things. Yeah. Next up, we are going to go into the Ascendant section, and then I'm going to talk about O'Leary as well, or unknown soldier as well. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.